Why did it take both of y'all to go in the house and leave them outside by themselves?
I understand.
And y'all know the gate was open.
Why haven't y'all been out with the people around this neighborhood looking with the kids?
We already told on camera.
I didn't see y'all on no cameras last night. I didn't even see y'all out here praying with them people. Them people was out to take care of my nephew. This not supposed to happen.
I understand.
Y'all was supposed to take care of my nephew.
I understand.
That was a look back at some of the initial outrage that the biological family of Orrin and Orson West felt when the boys went missing in December of 2020. For those of you not familiar with Orrin and Orson's story, Brianna Willis, a reporter with our great affiliate KERO, has more for us on the Cal City Toddlers.
It was December 21st, 2020. Orrin and Orson West, also known as Classic and Sincere, were first reported missing in California City by their adoptive parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West. Days after that time, the West parents telling 23 ABC they understand that people would accuse them of the disappearance.
And that's understandable.
What's your response to that?
That's understandable. I would think the same thing.
And the Cal City Police Chief John Walker assuring the community his department was looking for clues day in and day out at the start of the investigation.
We're just trying to dig up anything, any clues that we can possibly find to find out where they had gone and also to confirm that they're not in the backyard.
The disappearance prompting a massive search effort involving not only Cal City Police, but the Bakersfield Police Department, the FBI, and the community. Then month after month, the community rallied together for searches, marches, and vigils, all to find the boys.
Where are the boys? No boys, no me! Where are the boys? No boys, no me!
And reward money for information and the return of the boys continued to grow in 2021 as local businesses, community members, and a private investigator joined the search efforts for the boys.
There was some elements that stood out about the foster families' interviews that pretty much compelled me to participate and come out and do what we could to help find both of these boys.
Billboards with the boys' faces and the rewards started to appear in February 2021 in Kern County. But after 8 weeks, Cal City Police confirmed they have no suspects in the case. In March 1st, 2021, the Bakersfield Police Department officially took over the case. They continued the search in Cal City and Southeast Bakersfield for the boys, issuing a search warrant to the adoptive grandparents and more than 20 more search warrants in the case. It wasn't until June 2021 BPD gave an update on the case, announcing 170 items have been seized, 83 individuals have been interviewed, 44 search warrants have been conducted, 16 mass area searches have been done, 3 searches outside of California, and 200 plus tips have been received and followed up on, but still, the boys have not been located. Then month after month, the community continued to come together with prayer vigils and hoping for answers for the boys. But December, nearly 1 year after they were first reported missing, BPD provided an update saying since June, they executed 4 more search warrants, interviewed 33 more people, conducted 11 mass area searches, and 4 out-of-state searches. During the 1-year anniversary, we spoke to the biological family who said they just want answers.
Some kind of answers. It's been a year. We deserve something.
Yes, yes.
That's, I mean, it's only right.
Orson's biological father saying regardless of the circumstances, he will always be here for the boys.
I still got them. They should know that I still love them, that I'm always going to have their backs regardless of the fact those are my kids. Like, you know, that's something that you'll miss in life that you can never get back.
Now, just 14 months after they were first reported missing, the Kern County grand jury indicted the adoptive parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West, for the murder of Orrin and Orson West. They were arrested March 1st around 7 p.m. near Highway 58 in Enos Lane. Kern County District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer announcing the investigation unveils that the boys are dead. But Zimmer added that the bodies have not been found, and now the family is still searching for answers.
The question is now, where are the boys' bodies? We want to be able to bring them home and, give them a proper burial.
Searching for answers, and now Orrin and Orson's biological mother and grandmother have filed a civil rights and wrongful death lawsuit against the adoptive parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West, along with the Kern County Human Services and the California Department of Social Services. Let's bring back in the think tank to break all this down. Still with me, the Deputy Public Defender for LA County, Philip Dubé, former Senior Homicide Prosecutor Bernardo Villalona, and Criminal Defense Attorney, former Prosecutor Brian Watkins. All right, think tank. I was a child advocate for the state of Georgia and oversaw child deaths and problems that were systemic issues throughout the state and the nation. Children should really never ever be removed from parents unless there's a risk to those children. And then if they have to be removed from the parents, the whole goal is reunification, and they certainly should never, ever, 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 ever be harmed if they're placed with relatives or foster parents. So, Bernardo, let me start with you in this case. What happened?
It's what didn't happen. It's what led to the arrest. It's the lack of emotion. It's the lack of a rapid response. It's the lack of participating and looking to try to find these two kids by these adopted parents that didn't happen, which actually led to this arrest. You know, I remember when Vinny first aired these two kids missing, and so sad to see these two beautiful boys. And the response that these adoptive parents had, I was like, there's something that's just not right with this. The way that they're responding and talking to the media just did not make any sense to me. So I wasn't surprised that sooner or later they will be charged in this case.
All right, but we have to keep in mind these two beautiful, you're right, beautiful young boys are still missing. So Brian, as a former prosecutor, tell us how difficult, and that happens a lot, but how difficult is it to try two people for the murder of two children whose bodies have not been found?
It's very difficult, and one of the problems with these prosecutions is we don't have a cause of death. We don't know what happened. And so it's tough to say that they were killed. Well, what's the evidence of that? You know, missing and killed are two different things. And, you know, there's an argument that they're still alive somewhere. Children do get abducted. Children have been known to be abducted and live for years with the person that abducted them and turn into adults. And those types of situations do happen. So the defense is going to have those arguments to prove beyond, you know, to attack the prosecution to say, we don't know beyond a reasonable doubt what happened to these young boys.
All right, Philip, if you're the defense attorney, do you think that they have found evidence in that house that convinced them they killed these children, whether it was blood, whether it was, who knows, photographs, who knows what might have been in that house?
It sounds like the grand jury heard some type of evidence, maybe some type of forensic evidence, biological evidence. So for example, let's say in the house or in one of the cars, they found some serological evidence, which basically is a fancy word for blood. Given the age and the size of these kids, depending on the quantity of the blood that was discovered, you can infer a death, as opposed to just someone getting a splinter or a paper cut. You know, you would expect maybe just a droplet. The other thing they may have found too is maybe letters from the school saying the kids haven't been there, they're truant, where are they? Maybe they interviewed doctors, who knows, maybe they interviewed family, friends, relatives. We don't know what they have because the grand jury proceedings are secret. But be it as it may, a grand jury has found probable cause to believe that a murder has occurred. Now, to be fair to Department of Children and Family Services, you know, absent some evidence of abandonment, abuse, or neglect of these kids, I don't see why a social worker or employees of Department of Children and Family Services are even implicated.
And let's talk a little bit more about that, because one of the issues that they are alleging, and that's the biological mother and the grandmother, is that the Department of Social Services and the Kern County Human Services intentionally ignored the biological family's request for reunification and then placed the boys with Trezell and Jacqueline West for financial gain. I want to read some of the complaint to you. It says the state of California Department of Social Services incentivizes Kern County Human Services to ensure that foster children are removed from the foster care system within 24 months. In late 2018, the defendants worked in concert to have Sincere and Classic Pettis, also known as Orrin and Orson, removed from the foster home of LaToya Spry and placed in the foster home of Trezell and Jacqueline West for financial gain. At the time Sincere and Classic Pettis were removed from the foster care home of LaToya Spry, Ms. Spry was assisting the plaintiffs' efforts to accomplish the reunification of their family. The defendants then worked in concert to place Sincere and Classic Pettis in the foster care defendants Trezell West and Jacqueline West. Plaintiffs assert that the foster care home of the defendants Trezell West and Jacqueline West was a state-created danger. Now, the thing I notice as we read through that complaint is a lack of details to really tell you specifically what they're alleging. That gives general notice, what we just read, of what they're saying. But I can tell you this. I know that there is information indicating that this biological mother, Philip, in response to your thoughts about how they could be liable, actually had written letters to the department expressing concerns about the health of her children. They were losing weight, scratches and marks, and never got a response. So, Bernarda, is that enough to say, department, you need to be held responsible?
Well, it's not enough in of itself. However, it does cause us some kind of pause and concern, because if you have this woman telling you that she has seen her kids and those kids now weigh less and also have scratches and marks, there's a duty by the state to actually go and see and inquire as to, are these allegations true? Is this really happened? Because in the end, the primary reason that you remove these kids from their natural parents is because you saw that there was some kind of cause or danger or concern that you felt that they couldn't be safe within their own parents' custody.
And Brian, let me add some facts alleged in this lawsuit. The biological mother and the grandmother allege that, number one, grandmother was interested in having the children placed with her if they couldn't be returned to the mother. And number two, that they weren't given enough information or reasons why the children couldn't be removed from the home where they ultimately or allegedly had been killed, and placed back with them. And so how does that fit into a civil lawsuit against a department when the children were left in the home that now they're accused of being killed in?
You know, they're playing Monday morning quarterback here. You know, if they were taken from the adoptive parents and put back with the mother who had the children removed in the first place, and something happened to the kids, Health and Human Services would be sued and say, why, you took them from the mother in the first place and you gave her back to the mother, you knew the mother was bad, and now the mother did something. And it's the same thing here. So it's a double-edged sword for Health and Human Services. I don't see any liability here unless they knew of some dangers and then did nothing. I find that hard to believe. I don't know if they have any evidence to prove that, hey, we know these kids are in danger, but we're gonna leave them with these adoptive parents. That's hard for me to believe. I think that they're upset. And of course, when something happens, somebody wants somebody to pay for it. But could this have been prevented? I don't know. I mean, they're not deliberately placing children in homes that they think that something's going to happen to those children. I don't believe that. I don't think a jury would believe that. I think the lawsuit basically has no merit.
And I agree with you. I don't think they ever purposely placed a child in harm's way. And I will say the complaint does have a lot of systemic issues raised, and it may not be that a lawsuit is going to prevail on systemic issues, but certainly we'll have to wait and see.